Hello.
Saturday, the 4th of July, 2015. Hello. Here's the latest update from
Neil Keenan. Hello, who's there? Oh, it's one of those mystery messages for you people. For everybody. Okay, now I can get a little serious, if that's possible. I've seen a couple of the messages on the posts on the Cosmic Voice site, and first of all, I don't know who Boss Hogs is, so we can forget him, okay? And the other one was from I forget who, but it was about M1, and it was about the collateral accounts. And I'm only here to really answer those. I might add a few more things, but whoever wrote that article is doesn't know if he's alive or dead, or she's alive or dead. It's such a piss poor article, and it's totally erroneous. It has nothing to do with what we're doing. It's basically a shill operation coming from the West, claiming that they own the global accounts, that they own this, they own that, you know, because they own the financial system, which is what they did put up together. And when they did the what's the name of the thing in New Hampshire? Jeez, so much is going on in my head. But anyway, when they did that agreement in New Hampshire, I'll remember before it's over. And before the ink was dry, the accounts, they had tried to steal as much as they could from the accounts, and they succeeded in doing for 70 years what they set out to do, which was basically just steal. Okay, the East had received nothing, although the plans to steal the accounts had begun basically in 1921, even before the Bretton Woods Agreement. Ha! I told you I remember. Ha! I'm not getting that old yet. Anyway, the Bretton Woods Agreement, 1921, the Act of 1921 was when Emperor Hirohito went over to, Jano, pay attention, when Emperor Hirohito went over to London and met with, first of all, King George, met with the President Warren Harding from the United States and the Prime Minister of France, and they discussed and planned and settled a course of action for World War II days after World War I had ended, after the agreements, if you want to call them agreements, because remember, no German signed the peace treaty at the end of World War I. What were they? Social Democrats, a new political party created by the Allied powers. Well, we need a new political party in the United States because of the Allied powers once again. But we need one of our own, not one of theirs. We have to get rid of what they've done, rid of what they've created, and create our own. Now, those collateral accounts, let's put it together nicely so we can ruin our history, which is what they've been doing for us. The Marshall Plan was a plan created by George Marshall, if you remember, and it was to assist the war-torn countries at the end of World War II in rebuilding their nations with infrastructures and so on. George Marshall, they called it the Marshall Plan, and where in fact it was anything but the Marshall Plan. All those assets that came to take care of those countries didn't come from anything called the Marshall Plan. It came from the global collateral accounts. That's where it came from. It was a plan set up, as I said, in 1921 with Emperor Hirohito and the others, and the assets came from Federal Reserve notes that were in other notes that were already in the bunkers or in the warehouses. You had Taiwan, you had Japan, you had South Korea, you had Singapore, you had others too, and you had the European countries that had been beat up pretty good. They were all part of the Marshall Plan or the global accounts. Call it what you wish. The Marshall Plans were actually the accounts. So when you say they had this and they had that, they didn't have it. It was the globals that did it. No, nothing from the West took place there. Now let's get back and get to where I was heading. I forget where I was heading. I'm tired. But this guy here says, or girl, says that M1 is in existence and that he's in the West and that the assets are all belonged by royal families, royal bloodlines. Well, that's the most bullshit that I've heard in a long time. It has nothing to do with the royal families any longer. It has nothing to do with the with anyone in the West any longer. As a matter of fact, the East has already taken the United Nations out of the West. And you know why they took them out of the West? Because they're tired of paying the bill. The Dragon family paid the bill to the United Nations for a long, long time, and they decided they weren't paying any longer. That's why it's leaving. And I can't wait for it to get the hell out of there so that you can live like human beings and I can go home. But nevertheless, let's forget that for a minute too. Let's go back. There's no M1 right now, and there hasn't been an M1 since President Sukarno, who's the only elected president, only elected M1, by the way, in the history of those accounts. Oh, you can go after Sukarno and you can say, oh, what about Marcos? What about Marcos? Marcos was appointed by the West. He went to school also at the New York University Law School. So, I mean, if you really put that into perspective, what you're looking at is you're looking at an appointee. Matter of fact, he couldn't become president of the Philippines unless he divorced his first wife and married Esmeralda Marcos, whose father was probably Santa Ana, okay, Romana. He was the guy that also was tied into the OSS, which is now the CIA. They made him president. And by making him president, they also made him M1, or they appointed him M1. After that, you've got other people that were mentioned, but it's all been people fighting over a position that they had no business fighting over, because the West was stealing what they wanted to. And if you ever got appointed to a position, you were only a lackey. You were their boy to do what they told you to do. Now, as for the position being, again, an appointment taking place, that could be, but you know something, there's nothing to it. Because the financial system in the West is being torn apart from top to bottom. I mean, you still might hear from Karen Hoodis, you know, that little rolling ball that comes running down the bowling alley, hits a pin every now and then. But nevertheless, it's not going to happen no matter what they say. Karen tried to get the Japanese involved in it, and others tried to get others involved in it. You know, they made their runs at it, and they couldn't do it because they didn't own the accounts. And this guy who's blogging claims that the West owns the accounts. I mean, you better go back in your history. You better find out where the gold came from, my friend. Okay, you better do your homework. You better stop listening to people, because it sure as hell didn't come from the West. Okay? I really don't have much more to say. Do I, Joe? Am I forgetting something?
About the Red Dragon.
Oh, yeah, that Red Dragon guy. He was really a white guy from Sweden. I mean, that's a joke. His father was an ambassador to China at one time, and this guy, Michael Lindstrom, is the son who's a wannabe ambassador, and he changes names like Carter changes liver pills, okay? It's just crazy how this guy goes from one thing to the next to this. I mean, we have the whole thing coming out, exposing the whole thing, as we promised you, very shortly. Could be today, could be tomorrow. Mark and Richard are doing a fantastic job. It's taken a long time because we've been doing other things, and we really didn't think we had to do it. But, you know, it's gotten to the point now where they just keep coming out with things, and we're going to stop that. We're going to stop that. You're going to know who he is. You're going to know who the people he works with, and they're all basically con artists. All of them. And one of them most recently turned on them. So that's all you really need. Anyway, I probably hemmed and hawed a few spots here. I'm tired. I need my rest. I really do. And I'll get back to you shortly, and I'll let you know more. But don't believe anything you hear from people such as you have in regards to M1, regards to the collateral accounts. They don't belong to the West. The West is dead. The West is going to get what people drop to them right now because of what they've done. And it's not you people that have done it. It's the Zionists. It's the Nazis. And it's the Khazars. And we know that. We all know that, but we're doing nothing about it. And as soon as we do something about it, I'm sure we'll get something to deal with the humanitarian packages, okay? It's up to us. It's in our hands. And don't believe about Jubilees either and all that other stuff. And don't believe the Vatican Pope's going to help us. He's a friggin' Jesuit. What's a Jesuit going to be doing to help us? They create the wars. They created wars throughout history. That's all they do. And yes, the Pope has made an attempt to contact me, to speak with me on 3 occasions now, Pope Francis. And I don't want to speak to him. I'll do this on the tube here. I don't want to speak with you. I speak to someone who can bless, not someone who cannot be blessed even himself. Okay? I do this because I want to. Because I want to help the people. I don't have any business speaking to you. There's no reconciliation with the church because you're not the church. There's nothing. I have nothing to say to you, really. I don't have anything to say to the royal nobility in Italy or anywhere else. There's too many people out here that are going to suffer doing what you want, and it's not going to happen. Okay? If I can get my hands into the things sooner rather than later, you'll see my course of action, which will be, it won't be an end around, it'll be right up the middle. And we have the offensive line to dig that hole for you, too. You don't have a defensive line. In the meanwhile, we have been running around from the guys in the jungle that are out there that don't have any business being there. But they'll be going soon, too. So we'll get our things done. One thing I have to say is, please, to my people, please don't contact me so much. You're being monitored every time you call me now. Okay? Every time. I don't want them to know who you are, and I don't want them to know where I am. We have enough targets on our back already. Okay? Anyway, I just thought I'd bring everything up to date with you. If Joe, did I do a good job there? Or am I missing something?
I think those were the two core messages that you wanted to let out.
Okay, I had been hard in the beginning because I forget that Bretton Woods agreement name. You know? Because that's tied into Karen Hooters. You know, anything that's tied into her is make-believe. And I just don't want to remember it. Yeah, that's how I feel. So anyway, I'll get back to you when we're done doing what we're doing. We have work cut out for us. So let's see what happens, okay? And you take care. Bye-bye for now. And God bless. See you soon. Bye-bye.